Hi, this is Larry with ManCave Mayhem. Behind me is my 1981 CT110, and since I recently bought a 2023 CT125, it kind of inspired me, and I thought, well, I need to get back to work on this project bike right behind me here. I started on it 3 years ago, and if you want to go back to that video, I have that posted up. Check my playlists and you'll see that. I'll link this video to that one. But anyhow, I've got motivated. I since retired and I want to get this thing going again. So I can show you what I've gotten done so far on this bike. When I left off, I had the frame painted and I had a lot of the wiring done. The motor was done. I actually did the top end on it. So I got the motor in, the wiring harnesses squared away. It's got a brand new seat. I got brand new forks for it. They're kind of aftermarket forks, but I threw those on. They're supposed to be a little better. I painted these black. I'm not real happy with the black ones, but I'm going to probably leave it. So you can see it's in pretty good shape. We're making progress. Got to pull this back tire off. Tube must have gotten pinched because it's flat. It's got brand new tires. I re-spoked this front wheel. So that's all good. And I ordered a new exhaust pipe for it because this exhaust pipe's got a big old dent in it. I'd ordered a factory exhaust pipe for it. There's some more chrome pieces down here, the rack and stuff. I'm not going to go into crazy detail on the chrome, but I'll clean it up as best it can be cleaned up, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to start assembling some more pieces on it. I'll show you what I got in here. I never repainted these, so I'm just going to go ahead and wax these and get these all cleaned up and get the airbox back on there. So, all right, so this cover is pretty heavily oxidized, so I'm just going to clean this cover up. I don't know, I was going to buy new stickers and repaint it and everything, but I kind of like the old school character. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I'm just going to kind of leave it old school and let it be itself. I realize I painted everything else, but some of the stuff can stay old. It shows a little character. So I'm going to clean this up now, put some polish on it. We'll see what they look like. Now I've got those things sitting. I waxed them, cleaned them up. Now I'm going to I cleaned some of the surface rust off these. I'm going to spray it with some corrosion inhibitor just to, keep them looking nice for a while anyhow. I think these are galvanized, but I think some of the corrosion is still trying to get to them. So I'll put some of that rust inhibitor on it. I'll get this back together and I'll show you how it looks. All right, now that I got that kind of cleaned up, you can see I cleaned this all up. I degreased this. Now I'm going to clean up these airbox bolts, and we're going to try and get that airbox up on here and get that mounted at least. And then we'll go from there. This engine seems like, the cases are leaking pretty good. It's been sitting for a long time, sitting out in the weather for a long time. So, I don't know how bad it's going to leak once we get it running. But all I can do is wait and see. Brand new cylinder head and everything is on it. So we'll just see what we can do about getting it running, and then we'll deal with it from there. If the cases are leaking, then we'll tear those apart and redo them. But until then, I'm just going to continue on and get this thing assembled. And then if we have to pull the motor, we'll pull the motor again. Not a big deal. So I'm going to get these cleaned up and we're going to get this mounted. And then we'll move on from there. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Check us out at Instagram at ManCave_Mayhem. And just remember, folks, I'm just a man in a cave causing mayhem. Now let's keep going on this. Now we've got the new air tube or inlet tube that goes right there. We're going to go ahead and put that on right there, and then we will get this airbox on. Right, so after going through all the hassle of dealing with this new part, which is not OEM, you can see the difference. This one's just a little bit shorter. And if you can use OEM stuff, use OEM stuff. I just went back to the 40-year-old part, which is a little stiff and hard, but I've managed to loosen it up and put it back on, and there's no cracks in it. So that's what I'm running with. But yeah, when in doubt, go OEM all the time. All right, with a bit of struggles, we managed to get this on. So we'll get this all secured and bolted up, and then we'll go from there. We're making some progress on this old CT. I'm going to have to order an air filter for this. So until then, I'm not going to put this on. Plus, I got to get the rack on and everything, but that's kind of what she's going to look like. And we're getting her there. All right, today I'm working on the CT again. And I've got this rack in the sink. Hopefully Mama doesn't see that. I could get in trouble for that. I got a new cover, and I got this cover that I had painted years back that I need to clean up, and then we're going to throw some decals on those covers. These two covers, we'll get those decaled up and get this rack cleaned. Then I'm going to get some, I'll probably get some navel jelly or something to clean up some of the rust on this rack, get it looking as pretty as possible. So we will get that started, and I'll show you the end result of that. We've got these decals that I've had for a while that need to go on these covers. So we'll get that going right now. All right. So these are the reproduction decals that we got. Clean this cover up. Go ahead and get this out of the package. It's a new cover. And we'll get these decals put on. Save this one for later on the opposite side because that cover needs to be cleaned up, possibly painted, or maybe I'll just go over it with the decal. So we'll see. But anyhow, let's get that started now. Now that's already starting to look nice, isn't it? Like brand new. Got a few little bubbles, but those will come out. Now we'll get this one covered. All right, next thing we're going to do is we are going to take a plastic razor blade. If you guys haven't ever used one of these, they work great. We're going to take this old Trail 110 sticker off this side so we can get the new one on here. Little heat and a plastic razor blade will take you far in sticker removal. Just a suggestion. This thing's slowly coming off, so we're going to finish getting this off, and then we'll get that other sticker on here. Soon, it's going to be looking new. All right, we're slowly getting this taken off. It's getting down to the bottom, and then this glue's still on here, so we're going to take that down some more, and then we'll get this all cleaned up. Maybe hit it with the polish again just to clean it up. But we're going to leave this unpainted. We'll just leave the factory paint on it. It's a little patinaed, but that's all right. It makes it look rugged. So we're going to keep going. All right, now we're getting there. We got most of the glue off. You can see it's still got kind of an outline of that old sticker. It baked on there. But we are going to put the new sticker on now once we get this cleaned up just a little bit more. And then we can move to the next step. All right, let's see what she looks like. There's a few flaws in it, but not too bad. A lot better than what it was, that's for sure. We'll get those wrinkles right out of there. Yeah, there's a few wrinkles in it, but they'll come out. Just got to work it. If you have little wrinkles, you just work it out with a piece of hard plastic like this razor blade. You can work it out with a heat gun and some plastic. So that's what we'll do next. But it looks a lot better than it did before. That's right. Sure. We just got this in the mail today. Undented, unscathed, the new exhaust for the CT110 project. So we're going to push that aside and we're going to install that soon. First, we got to clean up this rack. I got some rust remover, basically navel jelly. I'm going to use to take off most of the rust, and then we'll shine it up as best we can. And then once that gets done, we'll go ahead and start putting these parts on. That's the next step. All right, just a quick update. We're into this project pretty good. And I didn't like the way that decal was on this Airbox, so I peeled it off. I've got a new one coming. I think today we're going to go ahead and get the rack on this thing. And I've got the new exhaust, but I'm waiting on a few pieces of hardware to mount that up. So we may or may not get that mounted today. We'll see. But everything's coming together slowly but surely. I will show you what I'm doing out here. I am using some heat-resistant paint. And just going, I polished a lot of parts up, but like this was all kind of rusty and stuff. And I'm doing the underside of the rack in this silver just to kind of cover up some of the rough spots and keep it from rusting anymore. And I figure, it's not a big deal. This is the back side of the exhaust covers and or the heat shields. and they are, you know, they're patinaed, but I managed to get them polished up pretty good. So we will get this going. All right, while we're waiting for that rack to dry, I've got these lower exhaust pipe pieces that were really rusty off the bike, off the old pipe, and I had to drill out the screws, and I put a pair of vice grips on the back side of it, or on the front side of the screws, and then threaded them through, so I was able to get them out. That's a good thing. So we'll clean these up and get those painted high heat black, and that'll be ready to go on the exhaust as well. We'll have to put some new screws in there, and then we'll put some anti-seize on them so that doesn't ever happen again. All right, you're not going to see this much, but I put a little bit of silver paint on the bottom here just to kind of cover up any rust and also prevent it from rusting any worse than it already is. So now we're going to go ahead and get this rack put on here. So stand by. Here we go. Let's get this rack on here. Like I said, the rack's not perfect. There's definitely some flaws in it, but hey, it's a 40-year-old bike. So, you know, what do you expect? So we're going to just set this thing on here like this. I bought some new bolts for it too that we'll be putting on it. But we're just going to loose fit this right now. Some fancy new bolts. And let's see where we're at with this. All right, now we got that on there. We've got the rack on, and now we're trying to get the exhaust taken care of. Over here on the workbench, I've got this stuff soaking in some rust remover, and you can see that's kind of going to work on that. This stuff works really good. It's called it's some metal stuff that actually eats the rust away pretty good, and it's non-toxic, so it's kind of a cool thing. But anyhow, we will get this done, and we're going to get that painted, then we'll get the exhaust. All right, today we're going to work some more on the CT 110. We need to get the air cleaner on. We're going to get the Airbox on, and then we'll move on from there. So let's get that started. I got a brand new air cleaner that I bought from Honda, and also this air cleaner plate. So we're going to go ahead and get that oiled up and get that in the bike. Well, this bad boy is pre-oiled, so I didn't even have to worry about oiling it. So we're going to go ahead and get it put in. And that's going to go right in here. Let's get her done. All right, now that we got this on, I wanted to talk a little bit about this engine. If you watched the previous videos, you know that I redid the top end on this. I did have a slight oil leak, and I wasn't quite sure what it was. Off camera, I discovered that this seal was bad, which I kind of suspected it, but I wasn't for sure. I thought maybe I had a gasket that was leaking, which so far so good, it's not leaking. So we replaced that seal. That seal looks like it stopped the leaking problem, because while it was sitting here before, I was getting a few drops of oil. So that's taken care of. We're going to move over to the other side of the bike. I had a really bad exhaust pipe. The muffler was bad. So I was able to scrounge up a new Honda muffler. So we're going to go ahead and get that put on right now. So let's get started on that. This bike has aftermarket shocks on it, so I put some new bolts on it. And we got this all set up, ready to go. So now we're going to check below here, make sure there isn't an old gasket. I've got a new exhaust manifold gasket here that we're going to put on. And we're going to throw this new exhaust manifold on and get that bolted up, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, well, that's going to about do it for this episode of the CT110 or the Trail 110 or the Hunter Cub Restoration. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Check us out at Instagram at ManCave_mayhem. And just remember, folks, I'm just a man in a cave causing mayhem. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode.